The Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience. Let's talk some golf today. It's been, golf is currently off the air, but doesn't mean we can't talk about golf. Today, we are speaking about our favorite moments since we started the Pat Mayo Experience / Pat Mayo Hour from our golf gambling or just golf perspectives that we really enjoy. Geoff Fienberg's here in studio with me. We'll get to him in a second, but I do want to let everyone know, just because contests are only running for like Azerbaijani soccer and League of Legends doesn't mean you can't win some DraftKings bucks. So here's what you do. If you want to get into a draw for 100 DraftKings dollars, subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast. Leave a 5-star review, DraftKings handle, something you enjoy about this show. Boom. You're in that draw for 100 DK bucks. Might as well tell a friend where you're at it. Let's boost those numbers up over this trying time. People need stuff to fill their days with. The Pat Mayo Experience, we got shows every single day. If you're watching the video, smash the like, leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section, and tell me your single favorite moment from the last 4.5-ish years from the golf world, whether it be betting, whether it just be a fun moment. And then you're in that draw for 20 DK bucks. Geoff Fienberg in studio with me. Did you know that if you go to fantasynational.com right now, all you have to do is sign up. No credit card, no nothing. Everything is free if you want to go test out the site. If you've ever thought about becoming a member at fantasynational.com, we have all the stats, all the old tournaments all loaded in. You can go fiddle around with everything. Seems like a pretty good chance to take advantage of this, doesn't it?
Time to play around.
As long as you have an email, and I assume that if you're watching this show, you have an email address of some sort. That's all you need to sign up. You can figure out how to use the mixed condition model over the next 3 months.
Any conditions model.
There's golf to bet on. I don't know who
I'm not betting on any
I'm
of
not
this.
betting on it either.
I'm not betting on any of this. I'm not doing any of the simulation. I'm not going to hate on betting on esports. That's I guess been a real thing for a long time. But I'm not into anything that I'm seeing.
No,
I don't know how to
it's funny. I'm
not into it.
I didn't know.
Not into it.
I didn't know how it would be because I bet a lot on the NFL. I bet a lot on golf. That if those things went away, what would I bet on? Turns out I just don't feel the need to bet. I was betting on Cage Warriors because Cody's got the good tips. Anytime there's MMA around, tune into that MMA show because Cody's been on fire. See if he can keep this up. And the lower level promotion that you go, the better chance Cody has of doing well because he might know more about these people than the bookmakers do, which is a real advantage. But I don't find myself needing to bet on horses I don't know. I bet on one horse because I got a tip. It was a loser, but that was about it. I don't feel the need to do it, which I'm glad that's the situation for me.
And I assume we'll get lots of money refunded soon.
For what?
Masters bets.
Yeah, unless they postpone it. I don't know how any of that stuff actually works.
Apparently in Vegas, if the competition doesn't happen within 8 days, any Vegas tickets, I think are going to be voided.
Yeah, because I was looking at my Masters futures and my PGA Championship futures. I was I can use that money. I'm not going to lie. They won't even let me cash it out right now.
Well, the smart move would have been after maybe Sung J M won the Honda to cash out you would have made money on a bet that's never going to happen. The PGA Championship, 150, 125 to 1.
I had it at 125 to 1, but I had it with the each way, so I couldn't cash it out to begin with.
Yeah.
I mean, if they want to keep that number, I'll take Sung Jae happily at 125 to 1 with an each way the next time the PGA Championship happens.
I want all my bets to stay because they're all great positions. All of them. Cantley at 40, the JT at 20.
Yeah, Bryson at 50.
They're all great freaking positions. The only PGA Championship bet I had was the M1. That was a good position. I had a ROM parlay, so that'll be refunded, and that'll be a big payday.
Paul.
I have Victor Hovland 125 to 1 and Sung J M 140 to 1 at the PGA Championship. Thanks to Eric Patterson for those
for that
I've had those for a couple months. Those
Even
are
all of them,
they're
man.
1/3 of the odds now.
Keep ticking down the list. Reed 80 to 1 to win the U.S. Open.
You're not going to win the U.S. Open.
Wingfoot, he'd been competing everywhere this year.
It's true.
I know, maybe you're right, the U.S. Open's far way down the line, but now stuff's going to come back, And we're not going to know what to make of anything.
How do you think you should approach that?
I don't know.
I would actually favor guys like Reed. Reed and Im in particular, because you know that they are just hitting buckets of balls every single day.
Are they?
I would say that those two guys are. Like Justin Thomas and Ricky Fowler are out just having fun, as you probably would do.
They're playing.
They're playing, but they're like having a hit and giggle. You're like, Reed's grinding. He's pulling like a VJ Singh somewhere.
I don't know that he is.
What do you think he's doing?
I don't have a...
What does he do outside of golf?
I don't know, but these guys have every toy in the world, and some of them have 2 of every toy. If you see their like
Sungjae
videos,
doesn't even have a house.
Well, it's a depreciated market. You can get a good deal.
Well, I think he has the money to afford it now, but he's probably like holed out at Valspar, because I think Valspar, because they canceled the championship, was offering people to play Copperhead because you can still play golf, but you had to spend the night there. So he probably just lives there.
No, they're like closed though.
What?
Hotels and resorts, they're probably closed.
No, I think the golf ones are still open.
The courses might be open.
No, but there was a whole thing when this came down that if you wanted to play, you actually had to stay the night at Copperhead.
That was a
At
night.
the Innisbrook Resort. Yeah, but if
This
they do
guy
it,
needs a
yeah, so
4 month.
he can just live there and use the facilities.
I don't know. Maybe he's up here in Canada with his caddy, Albin Choi.
Is the Canadian tour still going on?
No, I don't think anything.
I thought the Mackenzie tour had something going on.
Then I don't have a clue because it's all depressing.
All right, well, let's talk about some fun stuff. Stuff that made us happy over the past 4.5 years. We're not going to relive every bet that we've won or bad beat that we've lost, but just the really big moments. And I want to start with one only because it was the first show that we did for the Wasteman. Actually, it was the second one because we won with Duffner at Career Builder. And then the next week, we were talking up this guy at Phoenix. His name was Brooks Koepka. No one knew who he was. No one could figure out why he was 40 to 1. And we bet Brooks Koepka. That was our guy our one and done that week. Bet on Brooks Koepka.
Chip in on 16.
I put it in from the fringe on 16.
No.
You're thinking of the Duffner chip in the playoff against Lingmerth the week before from the Rocks.
That was great. Oh my God, Lingmerth, a couple crazy.
He got his
Rose took my heart out with Lingmerth once. Was that Memorial maybe?
I thought Lingmerth won that, but no, it was at it was at Memorial.
Oh, that was a big ticket. I remember the bad way more than I remember the good.
Oh, we'll talk about some bad beats that we had.
The bads are like insane. The Brooks won the chip, Super Bowl. People like think I'm insane. 3 years later, many years later, they come to now expect I'll be insane watching the golf on Super Bowl Sunday. I kind of want to even backtrack a little farther, maybe even to a disqualified territory for the game. But the first time me and you ever talked golf,
match play
in the desert,
Dove Mountain. That was the snow year too.
No, wasn't the snow year. The snow year was before we even met. It was the Dubuisson Cactus.
Jason Day won that.
Yes, and I had told you before that Jason Day was going to win, and maybe that's why you said, "Oh, this guy's whether I got lucky or good." You're like, "Oh, maybe we got something there." But the Dubuisson Cactus shots, like if you ever go back and look them up, they're as insane as you remember them. He didn't even move television ropes.
That was we didn't do that. I think we did stuff for the majors that year.
No, we were still months from doing a show, but we had built a bond over talking.
Yeah, but I think we had, because I only had an audio show at that point, not a video show. And I think we went to the back room and talked about one of the majors. Because I remember I had Keimer at the Players, and that was a big one.
Yes,
because he made the putt from across the green.
That might have even been once we were doing shows.
No, it wasn't. That was the year before. That was that same year. That was 2015.
The first show we ever did was a PGA Championship show because I think we had met sort of at the week of, it was like an Olympics.
I can tell you that we didn't start doing shows like this until the beginning of 2016 because the video studio wasn't built until 2016.
No, but I remember the first show we did because I feel like let's do something for the major. And that was the first, and it was like a full golf season later. It's like, no, we should actually like do a show.
Yeah, we had done periodic shows, audio shows.
We kind of were like, do you want to do this regular? And I was like, bro, I don't like looking at golf lines before like a Tuesday night. You're going to mess with my whole vibe. And I'm like, I like to take weeks off. Like if I'm struggling, I like to not even pay attention to like golf maybe for like a week or two.
Funny how your life has changed.
I can't do a show weekly. Weird. Okay. That's all. Dubuisson's cactus shots.
No, I like Dove Mountain, although I like Austin Country Club as well. I think it's a cool looking course, and it's fun for
Perfect for match play.
It's really good for match play because
would have
like,
been right now too.
Yeah, it's good for like gettable. Well, I don't know when I'm going to release this. Dating the show. 4.5 years in, you still can't piece it all together.
Sometimes. Still weekly feel to me.
But we have Brooks, so we'll kind of go through the calendar a little bit. The week after Brooks was the Jimmy Walker at Farmers when Snedeker won by posting the day before, like the monsoon, and everyone shot 80. That's just a memorable tournament.
Memorable. Monday, finished.
Like,
guys hadn't even half the sheet, maybe hadn't teed off.
Yeah, and he posted with the 67.
It was like KJ Choi was up there with like Jimmy Walker, I feel.
We had Walker, and he was winning by a bunch and gagged it all back on the Monday morning. I remember that pretty vividly. But the only two like hugely weather-affected tournaments I can remember is that one week at Valero when for whatever reason, the morning wave played in like 50-mile-per-hour winds. And like 98% of them missed the cut. I think the only two people to finish inside the top 30 that week was DJ and Ortiz. They were the only two.
We kind of joked that Dustin deserved his own like
half
win for actually scoring as well as he scored with what coming out of that wave and whatever his first round score was. And we had the Zurich.
Yeah, so we had Lovemark and Ben Ann get into because they canceled the Sunday round. Or one of the rounds got canceled. They said they weren't going to play it on to the Monday. Day was like closing in on everyone, who was like the overwhelming favorite.
That was also Day season.
It was.
When Day was the best.
I believe that was also this year, if I had to guess. Where's Zurich on here? Yeah, it is. That was 2016, because we had Lovemark and Ben Ann in the playoff against Brian Stewart. And of course, Brian Stewart won.
That was the first like Ben Ann heartbreak.
There's been many. That is the closest. I guess Ben Ann at Wyndham last year would have been the second closest Ben Ann.
Maybe.
Remember he hadn't made a bogey for like 68 holes or something like that?
I feel like the week that like I went like football hard heavy on like a 6-1 DJ 5.5-1 in Canada. It was a Sunday Ben Ann versus DJ, but that ended by like the third hole.
I don't even think he ended up coming in second. So anything else from that year that really sticks out? That was the year of Tony Finau's win. Day won the match play, like you mentioned. Oh, we went on a nice run that year. That was the first year that we did the show. Obviously, we're going to get to, should we talk about it now?
No, there's probably something else to get to.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We hit those back-to-back winners. Then we hit Bubba at Riviera. Then we kind of went cold for a while. Then we hit, obviously, Danny Willett to win the Masters. Then the next week we hit Brendan Grace. And you hit Charlie Hoffman the week after.
No, I didn't.
Oh, no, we both have Reed, didn't we?
Reed. Oh!
That was at Valero. You remember that?
Oh, Hoffman, it was like from the fringe. It was about...
It was a nice putt.
Nice putt. You had a good feeling he was going to make it, but it was more than 10 or 12 feet. And he like...
It was. I remember it being downhill, like he was over the hole.
But he like fist-cocked like a good 2 feet before the hole. Like he was ready to throw the dagger into the hearts. Man, Reed competed all the time.
Guy competes.
All the time, the guy is there a lot.
That was the year that Dustin won the U.S. Open.
You see, that couldn't have been our first year in the studio.
We didn't do the show the Spieth year. We were just talking about it. We did the audio podcast that no one ever listened to.
I guess you got to know this all better than me.
I vividly remember this stuff. Yes.
That makes
I built the studio.
Sense. That makes no sense that we were in there the day after like Chambers Bay. Were we not?
No, we were not. We might have been in the studio doing a very short hit on something, but it wasn't this show.
Wow. That was the worst moment ever.
We set up a pacing box at Chambers Bay for you.
But made good a year later.
The Andrew Landry year.
Yeah.
A lot of people had Shane Lowry at 125 to 1
Not
that year,
me.
I remember. I didn't. I also didn't have Dustin Johnson.
I practically listen, it'll be fair. Like we're getting to a point where I was like guaranteeing Dustin would win a major by major like weekly. So it's almost like Tim calling the Patriots not to win a division. They can't actually take credit when they don't do it. But that, I don't know. Even the Oakmont logo was like this squirrel finding his acorn. And like months out, I'm like, Pat, it's a sign. Like DJ finds his nut. And what was it? He like double hit a putt or something on a practice putt before. They were like, there was a rules bullshit coming down the end there.
Yeah, I think his ball moved like when he went to go address it. Then they didn't know what the actual score was, but he ended up winning by 2 anyways. So
No,
it didn't make a
but-
difference. Maybe you're right because about this.
About what?
I'm looking at Honda from this year. That's your Adam Scott one. I feel like we did the show the year that Patty won and Berger lost in the playoff.
I'm telling you,
maybe you
listen.
were.
I
Have
just
I been doing
remember
the show longer than I thought?
Yeah, we did.
Let me go back to 2014, 2015 then. No, because I feel like Willett was our first Masters. Right? Because I remember looking back. I went and
Okay, that makes sense. That Willett would have been our first Masters.
So we didn't do. I think
No way. Spieth won the year before, right?
Yeah.
100%. We talked about it because we were all about like Reed and Spieth being the. Why are you guys betting this Spieth guy?
You're right.
At like X when you could bet Patrick Reed at like 80 or 100. Spieth won. We're like they're equals.
Man,
We would do this.
we've been doing this a long time.
I was feeling crazy because I remember doing these shows.
Trying to. Did I look at this wrong? Oh, I was looking at it wrong. So 2015 was the year that Brooks won in, not 2016. Brooks won in 2015 at the Waste Management Open. That makes more sense because that was our first show. Now I feel like I have it all backwards.
No, I still think you're lost.
Now I'm looking at it right now. Reed won Tournament of Champions. I remember doing that show with you. So yeah, I guess that's when it was. Weird. Because I vividly remember the Harrington one because I went to a Monday playoff.
Yeah.
It's just thrilling podcasting. Then what the hell did Brooks win? Why is Brooks on this sheet the year after then? Is it giving him back-to-back wins? Either way. Because I went the year after to Waste Management and Hideki won because it was my bachelor party. And that was a Ben and heartbreak for me. You got anything to contribute?
So I just want to get back on track. What year am I looking at?
2015. Because, yeah, Bowditch had a win in there. Went through here's a nice run. Lingmerth did win Memorial, by the way. Chris Kirk, Bowditch, Lingmerth, Fabian Gomez, all through May through June before the U.S. Open and Spieth won at Chambers Bay. That was the lead-in that we got. I remember we had Hearn at Greenbrier, and he lost in the 4-man playoff when Streb broke his putter and had to putt with his wedge. And then Day won up here in Canada. And then Day went on his run and ended up winning the PGA Championship.
Wow. It's amazing
But in terms of
how
overall...
far we have been doing it. Yeah.
So in terms of overall moments, that Brooks one vividly just sticks out in my mind. I really felt like that was one of our first shows. In terms of that was season 2 of the show. So what was another one for you? Was it the DJ US Open?
Well, the win or the loss.
Pick one.
The loss was probably the two. I'll just like quickly say it. The 3 most memorable moments for me have to be the Willett Masters, followed by 2 crushing, heartbreaking Spieth major victories. The U.S. Open, where Dustin 3 putts.
And Kuchar.
And the incident at the Open Championship with Kuchar. Those 2 memories outweigh so many other good ones from this show. From like total anger and disappointment. And one of my other like real shocking angrily.
Oh, can I try to guess what it is?
Well,
I remember a moment where you had a lot of money on one person and he got railroaded. I remember you being very upset at the time about it.
no, you might be reminding me of one, so I might get fresh mad about it.
I was going to say when Troy Merritt shot like 61 to beat Ricky Fowler at the Quicken Loans.
That one, you know what? That's a memorable one too. Because I literally, as much as I joke about like calling DJ's US Open one, I literally was like, one bet, Ricky Fowler. I like guaranteed, like this is a football game, he will win this. And Troy Merritt won that. But no, a real bad one, but it kind of softens because it was your best day ever. Because you had everything, you had the nuts, you had both ends. was Siwoo's collapse at the Heritage, missing like 3 footers, like 4 of them or something.
That was another wind-impacted one.
Tanihara?
No,
or
Kodaira. Because Kodaira got to go out early.
That was a joke.
I didn't quite have the nuts, but
I think you had Siwoo, like from a betting perspective,
And-
so you still would have won lots of money, but Kodaira winning won you all the DraftKings money that you didn't care about the outright.
Yes.
So you were like sitting in the driver's seat. I'm like never hedging on. It just never. There are opportunities to get out like 7 times, but every time it's like, I don't know, he's got to get 2 putts from like 30 feet. Why am I betting against that?
Luke List was in the mix that week too.
Anyway, Spieth, the 3-putt at Chambers is like mind-bogglingly painful.
It's a bad.
My wife came home. It was a West Coast one. We talked. Those majors are so much fun. And I was like dead on the floor. Like I hadn't felt, it was like the closest I'd felt maybe to like a Nate Keating Charger playoff game. Like yeah. Like after one of them, I was like found on my driveway, passed out. My glasses were broken.
You wear glasses?
To like watch football. I want to see everyone.
Never seen you with glasses on.
You're right. But like when I'm watching 7 screens at once, I'll have glasses. Maybe it's like a playoff game, new and getting extra drunk. I always want to know this. Everything's got to be super clear because I'm doing things to make it not clear. My wife came home from that. I was like dead on the floor, like just dead. Like, and she might have walked in like a minute after it happened. So like the moaning was still like happening. And Dustin still had all the scar tissue. That was like an added level. He still didn't want anything. We had whistling, pebble, like, right?
Yeah.
So it was like extra painful. Wasn't like he had 2 in the bag and we're blaming them. I should have like 5. So that sucked. And then the Spieth at the Open, easier to swallow because of like how nails he played after.
That was the thing.
incident.
Like he came back and won that.
Like there's a par 3 that he stuck it to like 2 feet or 5, maybe I'm
and then he
5 feet or
and
6
then he made that
feet,
like 40-foot putt, the
to
huge
save
bender.
bogey. The bogey saving putt on the hole with the incident was insane. Like was so clutch. But then we feel like we got control. He's going a bit sideways and he sticks like a par 3 to like a tap in. And you're like, I don't know, the beast was awoken.
Yeah.
So that one was less hard. But those are the most certainly memorable. If you really want to, like, I don't know, I could like just keep going. I'm like,
This is what the show is for. You can keep
my
going.
favorite hole maybe ever would have been the Riviera playoff. Was it Riviera? Dustin versus
Han.
Spieth?
Riviera.
Then it wasn't Riviera. Maybe it was a FedEx Northern Trust.
Oh, and Dustin cut the water? That's still one of my favorite shots ever.
It's like nicer than a hole in one, how he played the hole. Like you couldn't like that, like this, sorry, not nicer, but the skill level of like the drive into like just an immaculate wedge. You didn't even need a putter, but oh, that was just, that will always be awesome too. I don't know. There's a lot of them, but.
Well, that's when we talk about things like, you know, strokes gained off the tee and strokes gained in general in certain skill sets. Like it's very clear that if you can drive the ball as far as Dustin, you have such a significant advantage over everyone. Spieth just literally could not make that shot.
Couldn't make the shot.
Like Rory could, Bryson now could, Brooks could, Dustin could. But there's a few guys that could, but Spieth could not. Like Patrick Reed couldn't make that shot. So you're always going to have an inherent advantage that way. Looking back here at the end of that year, we had Knox to win the Travelers. That was a fun one. Reed to win the Barclays. That was another Patrick Reed. Won the first leg of the FedEx Cup playoffs at a big number. He's won that twice now at the Barclays.
Couple mix-ups
Okay.
here. Going back. Lingmerth did win that Memorial.
Yeah, that's what I said.
It was Rose who had money on. And Lingmerth hit like a 20-footer to force a playoff. The Rose kids were getting ready greenside for the moment. And back to that year, Bowditch won.
Yeah, against Jimmy Walker.
Jimmy Walker, who I think had money on. My good friend Alex, I think, was getting married that day, tracking that thing like a degen. You're in a wedding
and
party.
you're just like,
people don't accept you. And I don't have like sort of this like even cachet with my friends that like this is what he does now. It's still like you're a freaking weirdo. And it still is, but now it's kind of more accepted, if that makes any sense.
That was also the year of like a ton of Aussies ended up winning. It wasn't like the Aussie sweep through Texas because that happened one year too because like Matt Jones and Bowditch won, but Scott won back-to-back, Day won back-to-back, then Day won again. Greg Chalmers won the Barracuda. Aaron Badley won the Barbasol. Just a good year for Aussies.
That was also the year. I want to say this was like where like Ricky Love was hitting like a low point. He got that SI poll of being like super overrated. Then he like that week, and then he wins the Players in that awesome 3-way with like Sergio and Kisner.
That was a good
A
playoff.
really fun one. And Ricky like stones like going right at the pins is. I mean, those are the highlights you still see of Ricky because that's like the peak moment.
That was really it.
And then he wins a FedEx Cup event. And then I want to say the next year, like he's doing everything in the majors. So we're trying to.
I think he went over and won in like Dubai as well. That like the next year. I remember you won that bet.
But also memorable, I guess, while we're in that year would have been the British Open finished on a Monday.
Was that the
Zach Johnson with Leishman.
Oh,
and
was that
Day
year?
And Spieth.
Yeah, and no, Day wasn't in, I thought Day and Louis just missed it. Or was it Spieth and Louis who just missed the playoff? Or was Louis in the playoff? Now I can't remember.
Spieth might have just missed it.
I think Spieth and Day just missed
No,
it
I
by
think
a stroke.
Day got in and Spieth just missed
Leishman
it.
was, I think, in the
Leishman
playoff.
was in it. Louis. Oh, yeah, sorry. You're right. Day and Spieth might have just missed it.
Interesting.
So that was a fun one. And that was, I remember my buddy bet Zach like that morning at a 28 or 30 to 1.
Oh, the Sunday morning.
Yeah, the Monday morning.
Yeah. And he was way back.
Like he was way back. What did he even shoot?
I
Must
don't-
have done something amazing.
To have these at the top of my head, I don't really remember. I'm not going to lie to you.
So I guess we would have should have had like EP being like Stat Boy in the corner.
Yeah, that would work
He
out much
would,
better
like,
for
have
us.
this off the top of his head. I am.
So let's go to
Sure.
2016 and see what we can remember from here. So we briefly talked about this. Trying to think of this. That was the Jason. This was the Willett year. So this is the Jason Duffner wins. Bubba wins a little bit later. Scott goes on his run. Then we get on Willett when he wins the Dubai overseas because they don't reprice him, and despite the fact that he's a top 15
Yeah.
player in the world.
We have like our first nibbles.
Yeah.
We're like, this is a good number.
But
we have
we
nibbles.
also bet him at Doral that year, and he came third.
Third. But to go back, as you've mentioned many times, when we hit the Duffner bet, the next day we went back in on Willett, like with real. That's when we started to put real money on it.
Yeah.
Like the Christmas bets around the what did you say he won was like, oh, this guy's got game. This guy can translate.
He could be a
Maybe
guy.
we're amateurs to this and we're like falling in love with the European player as guys do now. I don't know. We got real lucky, I guess.
Yeah.
But Duffner wins that tournament and we're like, you know what we should do? We should re-bet Danny Willett. So
'Cause-
now we're in for like, now we're starting to go in on re-ups and we're getting, yeah. So that's when it all started. And then the morning after the Super Bowl, that's when I was like, it was the Carolina-Denver Super Bowl. I lost money, but everyone who won, I was like, take some of that money, put it on Danny Willett right now. Let's do it. Sorry, love that win. We're probably still doing this because of that win, so we can talk about it, okay?
Yeah. We're going to do a rewatch of that at some point. We're going to sit here for 2 hours and watch like the back nine or something. Maybe we start with Spieth on 10.
Yeah, like Willett isn't shown till 16, so we don't need to watch the whole day.
No, he has nails up and down on 17, though.
Yes, from the back left,
Yeah.
from a TV standpoint, facing my TV.
We might have to get, we might need to bring in Cust for that one, too. Just because he helped us out so much by declaring it over at that point.
Okay, sorry. So
So
we are in
but
this...
the thing is, we went like back to back. We had that one, and then we hit Grace the next week at Heritage. And then like the only really memorable moment from the rest of the year was the Stenson Phil at the Open. To me, at least. Dustin won the U.S. Open, and then Henrik Stenson wins the British Open
wanna
in
go-
one of the best like head-to-head battles.
I'm really confused now for one moment then.
Wow, you're looking at 2016, right?
So just remind me, because I don't want to put you on the spot. When was the amazing Valhalla PGA with Ricky, Phil, and Rory?
That was like 3 years before. We weren't doing a show then. We've just talked about it so many times. It feels.
Oh, okay, maybe.
I remember
was-
watching that in Nova Scotia with Cust. So
Would that have been like the first major before we met each other?
maybe
So it was like the freshest major that was like, I just remember replaying that so much with you. Verbally, I guess, because we weren't hanging then.
Well, it's usually
maybe.
Tim who brings it up because he says that Phil got screwed.
I think I was in the office. We would have been in an office together then.
That was 2013, I think.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, and fantasy didn't open until 2014.
Okay, so we definitely didn't know each other.
So yeah, the rest of the year, like Siwoo picks up a win. Ryan Moore wins the John Deere Classic.
Yeah, just a lot of like Day and Spieth and Dustin, like NASCAR almost.
Yeah, they won
Looking
the
through
Players that
this.
year.
But yeah, you mentioned great Henrik Stenson. I mean that's been replayed.
Oh.
A lot of people have been doing like rewatches on that. Yeah, good for them. But
We'll
we
have
got
our
that-
own-
We got our own.
We got our own like
own
weird
things.
rewatches. So
Yeah.
2017, was that the year I got married? No, it would be the next year. Because who did Vegas beat at the Canadian Open? Because I remember I had a bunch of money on Charlie Hoffman to win the Canadian
That
Open.
would have been it, unless Vegas won 2 Canadian
He
Opens.
won back to back.
So that was the next year. Because, the Hoffman year was the year I was hanging with the listener GMAC, and like he was part of Hoffman's crew.
Yeah, so yeah, it would have been the next year. So this was 2016. I got married 2017.
What a memorable moment looking at this leaderboard.
Billy Hurley the third?
No, because there was a time, and thank God we came off it. But after that July 3rd Barracuda Championship won by Super Nintendo Chalmers,
Gary Woodland.
I vowed I would never bet Gary Woodland again.
And then
It was like I never Woodland. He couldn't outdo old Chalmers. This Woodland, I guess now was equally as frustrating then, because like you see it all, but it's like a lot of great players outside of like the top like 6. Like
I'm telling you,
just such
Woodland basically did what Molinari did the year before. Like all the good parts of his game stayed good, and all the bad parts of his game just became like average.
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden he was amazing.
yeah.
And you can only keep that going for so long. I mean, Molinari has gone completely the other way, and Woodland hasn't. But if you need Gary to get you up and down for the cut, nowadays you don't have as much faith that he's going to do that, just like you did back then. At the U.S. Open, like you'd be like, oh yeah, he's probably going to chip this in.
Yeah. Well, so that was, I don't know, that's a memory. Siwoo's first win at the Wyndham.
So let's go to the next year. Let's go to 2017, unless there's anything else.
Nope, this is, I guess, another big Patty Reed win at the Barclays, and then a FedEx Cup dominated.
By the Stars.
Oh, this was a frustrating tour championship. I'm going to open this one up. I think we had money on Ryan Moore.
We did. He lost in the playoff to Rory.
And you couldn't get it. Rory made an incredible, I want to say, like, eagle hole out, like on 14, and then it all kind of like just started happening for him. I'm not exactly right on the hole, but there was an insane hole out on the back 9 where it's like, oh my God, now he's here. And he kept missing 20 footers in the playoff. And then finally it's that famous, Rory clip that we see a lot. He's got the pink collar-ish. Anyway, that was a painful one. That was more at a big number in a 30-man field.
So 2017 marks the year that you and I did not do the show together.
Okay, yeah. I was with the Fantasy Golf Insiders.
Yeah, and
guys.
Cam was on the show with me.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't hit a winner that year until Hadwin won at 100-1 at the Valspar. But then you hit a 100-1 winner, and life is good again. But that was a really fun one. Cantlay versus Hadwin on Sunday, and Hadwin drained he was going off the rails, and he made a putt from across the green on one of the par 3s, and it was just nails. And Cantlay could not get every time he put it in the bunker. And maybe it's a reputation that's followed him, probably propagated by me, that doesn't apply at all anymore. But that week, if he was in a bunker, insta bogey. He was just not getting it up and down. But that was also the return of Cantlay too, wasn't it? I think he had popped up at Pebble earlier that year after being off the tour for 4 years. And then all of a sudden, who the hell is Patrick Cantlay? What's he doing?
Yeah.
He seems like he's pretty good. Turns out he was.
That was a nice little run. And I don't know, the schedule, I guess, was different that year because I also hit Leishman that
that was the Kisner
week.
meltdown year at Bay Hill.
See, I would have been real hot, man. I'm seeing this from Genesis through API, Dustin, Ricky winning at the Honda. I guess that would have been the first trip to Mexico. Or no, right?
No.
Would that have been
Yes, it would have been.
right? Now Trump is talking crazy on podiums and
Yeah, they
making
moved it to
schedule
Mexico. Yeah, they moved it from
changes, okay.
Doral to Mexico.
And this might have been an Olympic year. Is that why the schedule feels weird?
Yeah, 2016.
Okay, so I'm looking at the schedule feels out of place, even though there have been scheduling changes. I'm kind of aware. Again, losses. Remember them well. Better than winners. This was the Russell Henley as a community. Maybe there were a few of you out there that bet it. We as a community were like 28-1, 30-1. This guy can go F him. You know what I mean?
So this
bet can go screw itself.
So this also happened twice.
But we love it.
Twice in 1 month.
Tell me about it.
Because Russell Henley won Shell.
Yeah.
We were betting Russell Henley, like, the win is coming, the win is coming. It wasn't even 28. It was like 20 by the time it went
We
on.
were like, screw that.
Yeah, I'm not going to invest money at Russell Henley at 20-1 to win fucking Shell, and he wins.
Yeah.
And then, like, 3 weeks later at Valero, the same thing happened with Kevin Chappell. We were all about Kevin Chappell for the longest time, and they priced him at like 22-1. And everyone was like, nah, not going to do it. I almost made that mistake earlier this year with Neiman at Greenbrier, but we all ended up betting Neiman anyway at like 25-1, and he finally won. But those two were really devastating, and I wasn't on the Wes Bryan win at Heritage.
Oh, that was a big one.
It was like 80. I had Duffner, who was winning that entire time, and he just melted down on Sunday.
That was a big one, and then he went to...
I gotta say how the Masters ended up playing out that year with Sergio winning, because I had Rose at a really big price and I hedged out in the playoffs, and then I was just rooting for Sergio to win. I was happy Sergio won.
That was crazy. Sergio was at 13. Like he
was in
hits
the Pine
it
Straw.
in the not even in the Pine Straw.
Like
the
across-
Pine Straw is not bad. He was over the creek,
Yeah, but
like
he was
on the left.
in the Pine Straw
Okay.
over there.
Yeah, but like side hill, downhill.
And Rose missed the short birdie putt, and they both parred the hole.
Parred the hole. That's my memory outside of the like Rose sideburn and a Sergio final putt. That is my memory of the both parring that hole.
Then there was a nice little heat up before the U.S. Open.
We got the Zurich double, the first year of team golf.
Blixton Cam Smith, 100-1.
But wasn't there a crazy? Did they force the playoff?
No,
with the crazy chip
Scott,
in or
Scott Brown chipped
Kisner?
in on the 72nd hole
Yeah.
to force the playoff.
Monday morning, and then the kids came out the next day and won it. Good for them.
Siwoo won the Players. Woo!
Yeah, Adon hit like I don't
and-
know, 500-1 or
And
something.
a lot of us ended up getting it like 150-1 in play when Siwoo was just kind of like killing. It's like, why is he priced this way? Let's get on him. And then there was the Brooks here. Brooks wins the U.S. Open.
Okay, so I forgot a memorable one then.
Kisner finally got his win at Dean and DeLuca at Colonial. That was nice. The first like major Andercurse, the guy ended up winning, but Duffner was winning by like 8 shots at Memorial, and Tim declared the tournament over. And then like halfway through the next round, Ricky had passed him. Then he declared it over for Ricky, and then Duffner came back to win.
Yeah. I got to go back 1 year because I'm a year late on this Brooks thing. The maybe equally the most crushing things was the week my first baby girl Lily was born. I had like a Twitter Brooks for Lily, like it was a short card. He was like just having such a great week. He was up 2 or 3 on the back
Was
nine.
that the one at St.
Byron Nelson?
So it's the one that Sergio won.
Yeah,
because Brooks put it in
and
the
then
water.
they went in a playoff. But even before the
I don't
water,
think,
was
I don't
a
think that went to
total
a, no, that
meltdown.
didn't go to a playoff.
Oh, well, it felt like it. It was painful.
I remember Brooks had to chip in on 18 on that par 5 in order to force the playoff. And
Anyway.
he was walking it out from like 100 yards.
Because as I'm looking at the calendar we're on now, is Brooks is about to become alpha.
yeah, and then
We're on the that's about to happen.
well, this was also the Brooks wins. Was that the Aaron Hills?
Wisconsin.
So he beat.
It's Wisconsin.
I remember that was like the first. I know Justin Thomas had a few wins by that point in those like whatever tournaments, but I remember Justin Thomas's third round at Aaron Hills was just out of control.
But was he ever really in it?
Yeah, he got within like a shot going into the final round. It was like Brian Harmon. That was the first appearance of Fleetwood that we really had over in America, and Brooks just won.
Yeah, Harmon came in second. Hideki, Fleetwood, Fowler. So this is the Fowler year of all the top 5s.
Yeah, and then the next week was the week that Spieth chipped in from the bunker in the playoff against Berger.
And through the thing.
Yeah.
Which is allowed if it's a walk-off chip-in.
I-
Despite what
I
Tim
agree.
Anderson says.
We got Xander's first win, followed by Bryson's first win in back-to-back weeks at the end of July. And then Spieth beats Kuchar at the Open Championship.
Spieth beats Kuchar at the Open.
And this is Vegas beating Hoffman that year at Glen Abbey.
So who won the FedEx Cup without winning that week? Was that JT?
Yeah. Because Xander won the Tour Championship, the event. But but didn't have enough FedEx Cup points. And that was the year with the Dustin shot against Spieth, the Northern Trust.
And call me crazy. Has Hideki won since this Bridgestone, or he won something overseas?
This
right?
was
this is it.
This is the last time that he won.
one. Holy shit! Crazy.
Yeah, and I remember watching the PGA Championship in Germany, and I watched the Wyndham Championship in Morocco.
You know it was painful.
What?
Look at this Bryson win. Who did he beat there for that John Deere? I had
Patrick Rogers.
There were a lot of us on Patrick Rogers, I think, that week. Probably a scary number to think how low we might have bet it.
Also the week where...
But Bryson was awesome.
Remember how big into Bryson Tim was?
Oh, yeah. Gentil Chapeau.
Yeah, he
like,
gave...
classy.
He publicly disowned Bryson the week before he ended up winning on tour and getting his first win.
Awesome.
So let's go to the next year. We're back together. I believe we're doing the show here at that point. I'm trying to think. What was the big one for us here? That was the year that Dustin almost hit the hole-in-one on the par 4 at Kapalua. That was fun.
Hold on. So we're back.
Tiger comes back.
No, I don't. I'm trying to get into the norm. Oh, sorry. I'm in swing season here. I'm trying to find out what's happening.
Bubba wins Bubba wins three times.
This is all cool. This is fun. I remember that great day at Career Builder. Rahm beats Landry in a playoff, and that was the day I want to say the Steelers lost to the Jags that we had a lot of money on. That's, I don't know, those two events I just want to say coinciding. It was a fun Sunday.
That was
Easy
also
memory.
That was also TPJ out dueling Dustin Johnson Sunday at Pebble Beach.
One of the that sucks. I was counting the money. In golf,
And I got the money the other way.
by like this point, like I had learned, like you do not count anything. But I have to admit, I was probably counting it.
Reed wins
that
the
day,
Masters.
Woodland in Phoenix, outduels Chez Reavie.
Yeah, he has the huge Sunday. He comes from
And
back.
we're finally, okay, Gary's kind of cool.
Phil wins Mexico.
I want to back up a little.
Okay.
This is Bubba wins Genesis with the All-Star game. I know we've talked about it lots, but that was that. But more Bubba gets to come.
JT beats List in a playoff.
I'm there. JT thinks he's had someone. Oh, we got a JT. Everyone thinks I got kicked out. Like I'm the one that yelled, "Get in a bunker" or something. Not true. Fleetwood and Noren couldn't get it done on Sunday. Sounds familiar at the Honda. But we got to back up a little because something really just hit my mind. Farmers Insurance, that's the playoff. Jason Day wins. The Noren, everyone's still mad at JB Holmes for like icing Noren on 18 the night before. And then they win. They go to a playoff the next morning, and Noren, I think, puts it in the water.
I just because we don't do the shows during the swing season, but it was a very profitable swing season because I had Armour and Austin Cook. I thought Austin Cook was going to be really good, especially after he won at RSM, and he has not been good.
Nothing looks like I cashed that Cantley in that swing season, an embarrassing number, like 12 or 16 to 1. Like a number you still bet him at like now.
Yeah.
But you knew that one was coming.
Casey, that Valspar was Tiger was in the mix at Honda because he played with Sam Burns, but he kind of went out of it. That week at Valspar, it was Casey,
Corey Connors,
Tiger, Reed, and Snedeker was the other guy because Tiger played with Snedeker that day.
And we've spoken about it a lot, but Reed 3-putted 18.
Yeah, he couldn't get it up the hill.
It was an awkward first putt.
But that was one of the best Sundays of the year by far.
It's one of those, like, if the approach is like a foot farther, he's on the top shelf. He doesn't come back into that awkward swale. Patrick Reed, a winner. I'll remember him. I don't remember this Rory API win. It's a bit of a blur.
I was in Mexico. Bryson and Rory both shot like 61 and 62. Rory gained over 9 strokes putting in one round.
Awesome.
He just went crazy at Bay Hill.
And then you called this Bubba win, right? At
match play? That was a fun one.
Who did he play in the finals?
Kisner, and then Kisner won the next year. Remember?
So the year before that was Rahm Dustin. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, with Tanihara coming inside the top 4. I think it was like him and Bill Haas.
Okay. Now we're in Houston where we still haven't seen the soul of Bo Hostler since.
Yeah, Bo Hostler died that day in Houston.
Died.
He has not. He went MIA. We have not seen him
since.
Am I
wrong? Like, okay. this new wave of really young players, such at a level that maybe we've never seen. So in the past, when there were good young players, we tried to.
I was never in on Bo Hostler.
No, but
He's discount Spieth.
I'm not even talking about Bo Hostler. I'm saying like there are times like there are a lot of them, whether it be like maybe a Norman Jong's maybe too unfair of an example, like in one direction, but just like in any sport, like
I
you're
would say,
always
like,
excited about like
Sure.
the young
Patrick
guys and how good
Rogers,
they
Maverick
can be.
McNeely, like all these guys who are great college prospects who came up who just they're like fine.
Yeah, you're just so excited to see them, and like you have such like your team's best pitching prospect
But
or
it-
something.
but it
Like,
all-
you're ready to see
Yeah,
it.
but
like,
it also works out the other way too. Is that now over the past like 3 or 4 years, we've seen these guys all be good. Like it basically starts with Rahm, I want to say, because that year that Dustin won at Oakmont, Rahm was an amateur that year, and he was like good.
he almost won. He was like 4th in Phoenix or something.
He was 4th in Phoenix, but then he went. No, I think that was the year before. But then he qualified for that U.S. Open as like an amateur exemption. He came like T53 or whatever, I think it was. But like he was good, and then all of a sudden Rahm's on the scene, and then like Bryson was already being written off as a disappointment because he didn't win right away. Then he just won later that summer. But now you have Neiman and even Champ. But then like the high end guys like Hovland, Morikawa, my guy Matt Wolff, like they're all good.
Yeah.
And,
And
for a
even-
while, like they'd be mid tier. Like
And
Ben,
Scheffler's like the next one to win.
sure, but like Ben Ann was this guy too. Like Ben Ann was
Yeah,
he was the U.S. amateur champ.
yeah. So yeah, Hostler still hasn't recovered. Poulter daggered him.
Reed the next week at the Masters,
Yeah.
and then Kadira the week after.
All I could say about is like I've said it a few times over the years, but if you go back, you look at that Sunday, like 85% of historic Masters, like what Ricky Fowler did in combination with what the leader usually does, will fall back a little, like wins you your Masters.
And I had the Spieth ticket, and I got
Oh yeah, he got hot.
I
that
basically
day.
got my
He
cash
got
out.
hot that day.
because Spieth always overvalued at the Masters. He made the run on Sunday, and he posted right around where those guys were at, and it looked like they were going to fall back. So they gave me a 3-1 on the 10-1. I was like, I'm out.
Did Reed go wire to wire?
I don't.
Didn't he not
yes.
have any, or he like lost the first round by a stroke, but
No,
he
he-
just felt like he was the best
I
player.
want to
always.
say that Spieth was first round leader.
but like Reed shot an insane first round.
Yeah,
but maybe
I
he
think-
wasn't first round.
I
leader.
believe he ended up being second. I can read that. Figure that one out. Let's see. The Masters that year. Let's see. 2008 Masters tournament. First round leader was Jordan Spieth.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, that's not correct at all. Yeah, Jordan Spieth 6 under. Finau and Kuchar 4 under. Reed was 3 under with Stenson, Rory,
So was that-
Haotong.
Was that the Finau ankle year?
No.
That was still to come.
Yeah. No,
Um,
maybe no. That was the Finau
yeah,
ankle year.
that makes sense. So now you have a huge hit with Kadira.
Yes.
And the very next week, I might have had my biggest to one hit ever in Andrew Landry. Not the most money I've ever won, but the biggest outright pre-tournament bet. It was like 175 or 200.
Which really pissed me off because I had
Rance Molnix.
I had Trey Mullinix.
And he just like
there's
had some bad chipping moments.
Yeah,
bunker.
It was on 17. There's a drivable par 4 on 17. He missed it to the left, and he had it's an elevated green. Remember this very vividly. And there's a bunker in between him, and he just sculled it straight into the bunker, trying to get it up and down. He makes birdie there. He probably wins in the playoff because they're going to longer holes. Andrew Landry.
Aaron Wise gets a win. Who did he outbeat that day? Or was he just the I remember he might have been the class.
Well, was that okay? So remind me of this a little bit.
I don't know.
Is that the same as so Aaron Wise wins, but he had just he had lost today at Wells Fargo. He came second, right? Is that what it
Sounds
happened?
right. Yeah, yeah.
And then he
it was
got
like a chapel thing.
I feel like we had
Wise a lot of places and got off. What? Is that what we're
no. I
saying?
feel like we had 2 guys who were in the running that year of Byron Nelson. I want to say Billy Horschel and someone else, but that's my guess. Horschel and Piercy win. They win the team event. Oh, we got screwed at Wells Fargo too, because on that long par 3 at the end, Day hit the pin to keep himself on the green instead of flying it by like 50 yards. I forget who we had against him there.
Certainly didn't have Webb at the Players.
No, People wanted, that was a big number too.
I think I was in Nashville that weekend. I remember just getting off a plane, seeing his score, being like, that's not real. Who shoots? It was like a second or third round. He shot like 9 or 10 under, something like insane.
Bryson wins Memorial with a Ben Ann heartbreak. Another one. And then you bet Dustin huge at FedEx, and he won. He won with that like walk off.
Oh,
he
he
went
out, but he was already winning.
He
It was
won
a
by
holdout.
he won by 5 over Putnam, but he still on the 72nd hole like jarred it from the middle of the fairway. He was like 5-1. You nailed him.
Okay, yeah.
Brooks wins the U.S. Open again.
Brooks wins the U.S. Open, and now I get hot. I didn't have Brooks at the U.S. Open. That's when Punter was winning Teslas or something. That was a big one. That Fleetwood missed. Fleetwood had the crazy charge.
Yeah,
I'd like to watch that putt again. I'm sure he would, but I don't know. It's Fleetwood on the 18th hole on a Sunday.
yeah. So
in America.
So Brooks wins.
Now
We hit Bubba at Travelers.
okay. I hit Chesko at Quicken Loans. We're all wondering. This might have been the European players. We're all wondering what's up with Chesko. What's his plan? And he's like, I'm a FedEx Cup guy. I'm
No, because he won Wentworth that year too.
So then what am I? Am I a year early on talking about Chesko's?
No, because he won the Open, he won Quicken Loans, and he won at Wentworth, but he played the John Deere Classic for some reason and came in second the week before the Open.
Because this was a very popular win. This Quicken Loans win.
I was not on it.
It was like an 18 or 22-1, but he just striped the field that week.
Yes.
Did not see what was coming a few weeks later for him, I'll admit to that. But that week we felt pretty good. Kesner at the Greenbrier's a blur. Michael Kim at John Deere's.
It's Kevin Na won at the Greenbrier, not Kevin Kisner. We did not have that. You also laid the short price on Dustin, and he won in Canada.
Yeah. And then that might have been it. This was the Bridgestone where JT was the big number. I didn't bet it, but everyone was like,
yeah,
sort of like how we see Brooks or Rose at these.
It was a mispriced number.
Golf.
But he wasn't even like bad for it. He was just, they post him at 30-1.
I think he was off an injury.
That sounds right.
I think he was.
Wasn't that last year? He was off.
I think it was a different one, but I could be. Maybe what? Maybe I'm.
No, this
wrong.
was the Brooks off the injury year.
Oh, yes. Brooks didn't play the first half of the year. He won 2 majors. And this was the great one, my favorite modern.
Taking like Willett's and our winnings and just emotional attachment to that, was Brooks winning that PGA Championship the best major from like the past 4 years? Beat Woodland, Tiger, like I think Dustin was the other guy.
That was pretty good. That was in St. Louis, Belle Reve.
Yeah. And
right?
But also, it was the one of the image of the crowd following Tiger when he finishes round.
It was the image is like the Brit. It's almost like everyone is just turned on Tiger, and then he wins the Tour Championship, right?
Tiger does, yeah. He finally gets his win.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the final of that was Brooks beat Tiger by 2, Adam Scott, Stuart Sink and John Rahm, Molinari, Peters, Justin Thomas, Woodland.
And then, okay, this is a vivid memory because we were really high on Bryson for that PGA.
We were.
And he 3-putted or did something horrible to miss the cut. We were cut sweating it. It was a bad scene.
I feel like that was also the one where Finau was out of it, but then he just made like 8 birdies in a row at some point to make the cut.
I don't totally remember, but it all sounds familiar. Didn't Rose do something like that, or were a year early on?
No, that was at the
Rose?
British Open. That was
with the Molinari thing. Crazy.
Him,
was that the crying baby? I think it was Xander at a crying baby.
Yeah, because it was Xander, Molinari, Spieth. I want to say
Tiger. A little bit. He was out ahead, but
Chappell
Tiger
was in that mix, but Rose and Pepperell like both snuck in on the number, went out and posted a number, and like all of a sudden they were in it.
And then Rose might have even hit a putt on 18 that made you think there's a playoff, or like that could set him up into a playoff.
But then Molinari just made every putt.
You know, you're talking about all these majors. That might have been the better major.
That was a fun one. That
might have been the major where I would have bet the most money, like Sunday halfway through, we're getting a playoff.
Well, I mean, people can say that the Open with Phil and Stenson was the best, but
different. 2-man feels like a match play once you're
like
there.
That was
doesn't have the let's go to 14 buddies.
That was very unique. Yeah, the most competitive major was probably that Open Championship where everyone kind of had a chance to win at some point.
So back to what I'm about to say. Bryson, a disgusting like miscut at the PGA.
And then we get back on
And
him.
then we're like, no, like this is the grinder. He wins Northern Trust
And then
at
wins
like
the
a
next
good
one.
number,
He won
like
at
a
80.
60 or an 80.
It was an 80.
Like disgusting. How dare you? Like out of like the nerve of you to post that, we shall now bet it. Now, I'll admit, I wasn't into a back-to-back.
Neither was I.
I was like, I like Bryson. He's not a back-to-back FedEx Cup guy. Because I think to a man, Pat, we almost argue these two events might be the two best fields of the year.
Yeah.
At least on the very short list. Those
When it's full fields.
full field FedEx Cup events, or at least like even the 80-man FedEx Cup event, or I could be wrong on exactly how many players.
Yeah, it's 125 to 100 to 75.
Those are the events. So he takes them both down. And then Tiger wins the Tour Championship. People even bet Keegan.
Yeah, I didn't, but
I
Keegan
didn't. Yeah,
Keegan ended up winning.
And then, yeah, Tiger wins with what? Rory? I remember he was walking 18 with Rory's, the memorable picture, but...
And then we get into the swing for the next year. Champ wins. Remember, everyone was all over Champ. Champ's going to win the Masters. He's 40 to 1. Didn't even make
Oh, yeah, I don't want many.
Didn't even qualify for
People
the
were
Masters.
taking bets at Christmas time last year. I was like, I have Matt Kuchar, you have Cameron Champ, head-to-head 4 days in April in Augusta, Georgia. And I had action, like a considerable amount. It all gets voided because the guy doesn't even make the tournament. People are betting him to win.
This starts
Swing season, people can be insane.
Yeah, well, there's nothing to do. Tell you who paid some bills for me that year. Matt Kuchar. Wins OHL, wins Sony. Boom, boom.
Okay, Bryson won Shriners. That might have been a good double week. I think like Rose won in like Europe,
Overseas?
and it was yeah.
I feel like Bryson came back that year to win. Maybe he didn't. I
Oh,
don't know.
then it's the El Toucan tournament.
Yeah. But then Kuchar doubles up at Sony too. So
Charles Howell finally wins.
Yeah, Kuchar hits at 60, and then Kuchar hits again at 40. And then Adam Long outduels Hadwin and Phil Mickelson.
So confused. Oh, doesn't. Never mind. I was gonna say something embarrassing. I'm
What?
like,
Say it.
doesn't Ricky have a win here? But it was the hero. I think he wins right here.
It is. He wins Waste Management that year, though.
Yeah, no,
He
does.
He has the disastrous
Oh,
Sunday. And
ruins the, even though he wins, he ruined my day. Ruined my day. Grace put the ball in the water
On
on
17.
the drivable. Ruined my day.
We got the Phil win at Pebble over Casey. When Phil was trying to
No,
get off the
but
course on Sunday.
Going back a bit, the Adam Long win was super cool because he had Phil. Phil was the name, but Hadwin. They were getting ready for I think a 3-man playoff.
Yeah, and he just made the
Made
nail
made the
17
putt.
footer.
And then we saw that again with Mitchell a few weeks later, but we'll get there, I'm sure. Rose winning the Farmers after people on the scene tell me he like despises his clubs.
Thanks for
It's
that.
okay. No,
Thanks for
whatever.
the tip.
I wasn't gonna bet him.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna bet him anyway, but then he crushed it, and he was having issues, and
Yeah,
now he's having issues again
Because he had
but-
played the week before in the desert and not played well. He made the cut, but was like bad.
Okay.
He had Fowler, the
This is
Phil
all
win.
fresher. Phil wins with Casey, and Casey like wanted to go the next day for his pro-am partner. There's something there.
No, Phil just wanted to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
And Casey was like taking his time. Like it was pitch blackout. Phil was like, no, let's get off this course.
Okay.
That was a nice round from Phil, though.
very nice.
And then they had to play the 36 holes at Genesis on Sunday because of the weather, and JB wins.
JT like just wilted a bit.
Yeah, he like 4-putted a hole. That wasn't good.
Mexico.
Dustin versus
boring.
Rory.
And then the Honda, just the magic of the Honda. The Florida swing again. Magical Florida swing. Keith Mitchell at the Honda. Brooks and Ricky hits that insane putt on 17.
Oh, at the Honda. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, then Molinari storms back the next week, and then Rory wins the Players over Furyk. Casey, Mr. Valspar.
Who did he beat at that one? Or was it even close? Might have been a walk away.
Who?
Casey. The
No.
second Valspar.
As someone who had money on Kokrak and Im,
Oh, they couldn't.
Kokrak couldn't get it up and down on
it.
18.
Sorry. I did not have money on Kisner.
No, neither did I.
Who did he beat again?
I don't even remember who he beat.
So like Biergard beat Tiger.
That's the only thing I remember from that tournament.
Something pissed me off in this one because I had good positions.
Let's see here. Let's look at the bracket. Kuchar versus Kisner in the final, and Biergarten beat Molinari in the final, in the third place game. Weird.
Love that tournament.
See, yeah, then Tiger wins the Masters, obviously. Corey Connors storms everyone at Valero. That was a Siwoo Kim week. We thought we were gonna win with him.
I like if you just like cut that up as we're recapping. It's like Tiger wins the Masters. Corey Connors wins the Valero. Like
I just remember he was a late ad into the tournament. He was first round leader. He wasn't even available on the first round leaderboard. He ends up and he gained like 13 strokes putting that week. I think it's like the only tournament he's ever gained strokes putting.
This all feels like so fresh to even. There's some good memories here. Kevin Na was that?
Kevin Na was a good one. I was pissed about the Max Homa win, but that was a really impressive performance by him. I think
Cantley winning Memorial has set up a fun little thing there where it's, at least in my opinion, on a 2-year sample.
Like the break-
Bryson, Cantley, even had Deck. Oh, no, it wasn't 3 years ago.
No, it was like Kuchar got a breakthrough in there. Bubba won there. Lingmerth got his win there.
To be fair,
Dirt
Kuchar's
McGirt
was
got his
probably
win there.
Kuchar had a Players before that, but
Was the Players before that?
Yeah,
And then,
sure.
yeah, this is all like fresh in. Trying to think of, man, I had a real bad run here.
I'm real far back now.
Oh, shout out! I mean, the second Eric Patterson shout out of the show. He got me on Poston after round 1 at the Wyndham at like 125-1.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess on that, the Xander Tournament of Champions win got me on Woodland.
Oh yeah, I forgot Woodland gagged that.
Yeah, but
We
he
didn't
played
really gag
well.
it.
He like shot a 5 under. Xander just did something insane.
Yeah, I think he was
recall.
62.
That's when my first Woodland bets came in. But I want to say my first Woodland bet might have been the Open Championship. And then I protected my Open Championship bet
With the US Open.
US Open bet. Think, Pebble Beach, that works.
What is the lasting memory from the Tiger Masters? I still think it's the security guard taking his knee out, which we all just kind of forget about at this point.
I mean, when you ask me it right now, it's like just the scenes and the part, like him standing alpha on the green as Finau and Molinari are like.
That was also a really fun Sunday. Remember they pushed all the tee times up, and like
Tim was so mad.
he was, but then like, and they played in threesomes. But like Cantley made a run at one point.
Cantley
Xander made a run. But then like Day and Bubba started making a run. Dustin got in.
Yeah.
And I had Dustin. I was like, let's go.
Yeah. It's great. I didn't have a cent on Tiger, but it still felt mad.
Yeah, neither did I.
I mean, I didn't have a cent on Molinari or Finau either. Guess I didn't really have a cent on anybody.
Dustin and Cantley were my only two.
Oh, Cantley.
But he ended up coming like 10th.
But he hit the eagle putt on 15, and then he.
I think
and then they finally show him. No, he got on the top level of the par 3
and bogeyed. He made 2 bogeys.
Brooks also kind of had the exact same fate.
Then we got like the Wolf Morikawa run. They both.
No, then we got.
Then Lowry.
Yeah, but I want to like go back a little.
You want to talk about Woodland?
No, well, even farther back of that, like Brooks wins the PGA in like insanely dominant fashion.
Until
this is now.
He almost gave it back to Dustin, although they got close on Sunday.
This is now at the point where like
Brooks will never lose again.
Brooks will never lose again. How could he lose a major when he's like getting on Barstool Pod saying no one has a chance. There's like 30 of us. I get it, like I cross all these names off. Like he really took himself to and when you consider like how he had been performing in the majors, going back to the calendar year, coming second place to like Tiger, it was all kind of like warranted, but yeah, not for me. US Open, again, Brooks almost, I was scared.
Brooks was there. He started out fire in the final
scared
round.
the shit out of me. Hit that for Telly. The Matthew Wolf one was a dagger because big money on Bryson. Big money.
Yeah. And we liked Wolf too. I was there. I was at the 3M.
Yeah. But I didn't. People were on the Lowry win. I wasn't in on it.
Yeah, I wasn't.
I wasn't even.
But it was funny. Like I didn't have.
Didn't shock me, but I was not really even going to be on a short list of guys.
I didn't have any money on Tiger at the Masters, but I was really happy, like watching Tiger win. It was the same thing with Shane Lowry for me. Like I didn't have a cent on him. Well, it's not like he beat my guy to win. I was happy that he won.
I won't go that far, but I hear you.
It was a nice scene.
Easy to cheer for.
I don't know what I was happier about. Lowry winning or JB Holmes shooting like 85 in that final round with Brooks, and Brooks like losing his mind. Yeah, and that's the year. So overall, favorite moments. Now that we've kind of talked through the entire thing. Willett has to be number one.
Yeah. Willett's for sure number one.
Would you put that DJ Major second?
Probably, and maybe even, I don't know, there's got to be some of those Patrick Reed wins were awesome.
I think the top three for me is Willett, Heritage when Kadira won, and Heritage when Grace won. I had a lot of money on Grace that week, the week after Willett winning and me having a bunch of money.
I got to, yeah.
Just following it the next week with the win.
Without a doubt, actually, like Woodland's U.S. Open has to be my second favorite.
Really? Over a Dustin Johnson win?
That's it. It just felt like it was like there. Like
I'm not talking about like size of wins or anything. It's just like you in the moment watching it, like being pumped up.
Might have been like very close. Dustin's was emotional, but so was Gary's. Because like I don't know, you put this all around good guy narrative that was, you know, you spell out there for Gary. The Raptors like won the championship like the night before or something.
I'm gonna say Brooks and Phoenix was 4 for me because I was super into that at the time. Before the Super Bowl, I was already at the bar. I was the only person watching golf and like sweating it big time. And then 5th is probably either Hadwin at Valspar or I just had it in my head. Now I can't remember. Bryson winning the FedEx Cup event.
That might have been a good one.
And that wasn't even close. You know what? Actually, one from last year that we didn't even talk about, we mentioned it, was a really fun sweat, was Kevin Na at Memorial, at Colonial, when he beat Finau. It was he played so well.
Crushed it. Yeah. And that was a top pick, like double sanctioned. And all day I was so scared of Finau.
But not just
because I believe in Finau, but you know,
how's that going for you?
I don't know.
All right.
I don't like. Quickly back to something was brought up very early. I don't know what to make of any of it when we're back. Like, not to say we overrate swing season or what we see at like Tournament of Champions, but I don't know. They're going to be back and we're going to get like a strictly perception based odds board.
Well, here's a good thing right now.
Big break for Tiger.
Since we're bad. Yeah, it is.
Big break for Tiger.
Bad. Since we're so bad at predictions anyway. Although we've chose to highlight a lot of our wins here, not so many. Although we did talk about just the string of losses.
Like 10 wins means there's 85 losses. Like just the math. There's so many tournaments.
But
you don't have that many wins.
What do you think the first golf we see is?
Okay. The first scheduled golf, I don't know if you're even aware of this, and I want to confirm the dates.
I believe it's Colonial, isn't it?
No, like confirm back on a schedule, reschedule is the LPGA has now said.
Okay, I don't care about that. First PGA Tour event. That's all I care
September.
about. Really?
What I'm about to say is the LPGA. Oh no, actually that's wrong.
Isn't the LPGA still playing right now?
No, they scheduled a major for September. They've rescheduled a major. That's the first like thing that's been rescheduled. Now that means they might be back before September, but they're just rescheduling that major.
I think we're going to see my prediction is we're going to see the Masters in October, and that will be the first thing back.
I can't even fathom.
You got to talk into the mic.
I can't even fathom that board. I want my bets.
Well,
I just want to keep my bets.
It's no different than it probably looks.
Can Bodog just let me keep my bets?
They won't.
Sorry, you could even blank that out. Every bug. I got bets everywhere. I want them capped. You don't think those would be capped if it's played?
No, because they'll probably refund them by then. Because unless they make an announcement about when it's going to be postponed to, but you can't they can't just keep your money for 2 years if stuff doesn't come back.
Not 2 years, but if they play it in like a 6-month window, they can't just be like,
you're good with them keeping your money for 6 months, just as I know that you are in this circumstance, but in a general circumstance, like if you had NBA futures and they don't cancel the season, they're like, oh yeah, we're going to run it back like next year.
No, that will be canceled. And by the
but we don't know if this is going to be canceled or not. Like it's canceled for the day of, so they have to give you your money back.
At some point, put it this way. The Masters won't happen in April. Let's say they still have my bets pending. And if they make an announcement by like June or July.
The money should already be refunded by then.
Well,
as soon as the tournament doesn't go, the money should be back.
Then it's all going to be back. And those great positions will be gone.
Probably shouldn't put your hands in your mouth.
I don't have a quarterback either.
You might by the time this comes out. Fuck.
You could just make it like I cursed the blue
Hey,
heaven. And
hey, Jeff, you can keep that pen too.
Yeah.
Motherfucking shit. I don't know. I'm not optimistic about anything. This was a bit of an optimistic show.
And then you immediately wanted to start talking about bad beats.
No, well, yeah, because that's what I remember. Like, as a bettor, the losses never feel as good as the wins, and that's probably why I, like, decide maybe to stop. But I don't know. Golf and football. I'm like, I feel bad for people, like, degenning over things.
If they're into it, and maybe they're winning. I don't know. Maybe there's an edge to be had. We just don't know what that edge is, so we stay away. I think
I gotta have like some level of interest. I gotta be watching it.
Well, that's the whole thing.
Like I don't like just want to put 20 down and then check a thing like every half hour to see this. I don't care about that. Like if I'm going out with my wife on the Saturday night, I'm not gonna bet that college game. I'm not like watching it. If I'm home and the kids are asleep and we're just hanging out and she doesn't want to hang out with me, like yeah, I'm a sucker to bet a TV game. Yeah. So I don't know, when they put like robots fighting each other on NBC in 2 months, maybe I'll bet on that then.
I could bet on robot fighting.
Like I like who just knows where I don't know, where we are when this comes out. Maybe we're in a great place. But it does seem like Augusta is getting ready for October. That weekend of, I want to say the 3rd or the following weekend, there are a couple signs. One, like hotels aren't taking bookings, like they're sort of like, they've kind of been tipped off to something like in the local community. And the places that are available are now having like heavy pricing, like tournament pricing.
Okay.
So there are people like in the know that know they are sort of earmarking those weeks. And I don't know, is that like right after the Ryder Cup's just going to get canned, right?
I don't think there's going to be a Ryder Cup now. That hasn't, there was rumors that was already,
See,
that might actually be the first thing back.
See, that might be the easiest thing to have because it's just exhibition with like
Limited amount of people.
The competition is intense, but it's not like...
It's also in the middle of nowhere.
I'm just saying, like you hearing these like fly on the wall ideas. I'm confident regardless of when you release this, I'll stand by what I am saying. The leagues are toast. Like the NHL and the NBA, their focus, to my understanding,
is next year.
Is getting a full season in next year and taking the L. Because the worst thing they could do is sort of like get the future off the schedule. By that, I mean like sort of imbalance the coming years.
Yeah.
To sort of have some manufactured playoff format system go directly.
I really wouldn't care. Like if the NBA wanted to come back and they're like, yeah, we're doing an 8-team playoff.
Cool.
Top 4 in the West, top 4 in the East. Let's go. It's going to be 3 weeks. They probably won't do that, but I'd be fine with it. Yeah.
So I don't know. And there's this like the Ryder Cup just has this like all-star feel to it that it feels like a perfect event to bring us back in. I agree.
So you have a limited amount of players on each side. So limited, like even if you weren't allowed, like not having fans at the Ryder Cup would be super weird. But that's probably how they'd have to do it. So you'd have your caddies, you'd have your players, you'd have your broadcast team, and there's only 12 people aside, right? And it's in the middle of nowhere in Wisconsin, so it's not like it's in the middle of a city or something.
I don't want to hear the wind bustling like watching the Ryder Cup.
Well, then you know what? How about they just don't play?
I'm just saying.
So you don't get to watch it at all. How about that? Would you like that better? Is that a better option for you?
Do you know what? You to your point, losing options are better options because we're so fucked right now. I like want my losing team. Like I want the pain of watching a team I love lose. It's better than whatever else is happening. When I say sometimes when they're sucking, I don't want that. I don't know why I live with it. No, this has proven exactly why I live with it. This makes me even think I should like the Maple Leafs again, Pat.
How about that?
Just to like another team that sucks and will disappoint me. Just more in my life.
It's far more fun to not care about hockey just to make fun of Leafs fans.
I could still not care, but care a little.
You can care. You can follow along, but you just care that they do poorly. That's what you root for.
Well, I still think the greatest moment of 2020 sports was them losing to the 42-year-old Zamboni driver. Like, now that the year has ended, like, if we have to give out, like, Athlete of the Year awards
He's
in
on the
no
list?
other sports. He's got to win like Canadian Athlete of the Year.
He's the Lou Marsh Award winner.
In my vote,
What about Mac Hughes for coming in second in a tournament?
very respectable.
Very close. All right, that'll do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Follow Jeff on Twitter at gfienberg17. I told you about the giveaways. I told you about free Fantasy National at the moment. So please, fantasynational.com. Go check that out right now. I will be back with more shows in the future. Maybe even a Masters rewatch of the 2016 Masters with Danny Willett donning sports' highest sartorial honor. So that'll be fun too. I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!